Hi all, good evening. So is it my voice audible to you? Can anyone confirm that? Hello? Hello? Yeah, is it audible, Nana? Can you speak anyone?
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Sinana. So today, I mean that the basic first class what we covered, like what is Python we covered. So as we know already, so Python is a scripting language, or I can say that Python is a language which will help you to create some sort of applications, basically. So whenever you want to create any sort of applications, or it may be automation testing, or it might be ML or artificial intelligence or data science or IoT. So these are all things we like. These are the different applications where you can implement the Python. Okay, so that is all about Python. What we covered in the first class. So Python is a scripting language. So where it will help you to develop in different domains, and it will help you to write the scripts in different aspects. So now today the foundations of Python I'm going to be starting the fundamental topics. So by using them we can try to write some of the programs also today. So basic programs. So by that we may understand how we will write the programs also. Okay. So
Thank
the first thing see here, like when you go for any programming, the core components will be like some variables and input output statement, and also like how we will write a sample program, and also how to define the variable and what type of it is. So that things we will cover today in this session, and also we'll see some very basic programs like some of the two numbers or welcome programs, such kind of basic programs I will explain you so that you can understand. So first topic will be, I can say that variable. So a variable is a generally seen, it's a very straight, I can say that a variable is a place of memory where we can store some information. So that means whenever you are writing some program or whenever you are executing some program, so definitely we require to store some information. Maybe we can use it in the further in the program, or maybe we can reuse it. Okay. So for that purpose, like instead of every time using Satish Ajay, Satish, instead of we can store Satish in the name, and we can use name as a variable. So similarly, wherever you require to store some information, it may be numbers or text or the collection of data. So where we can use this variable, and this variable value can be changed at the time of execution, or I can say that like later on in the program also you can modify. So variable, the value what we initially stored, maybe as per your requirement, you can change also as on moving. So the syntax or the example, I mean that the how we will what we can say that how we will define the variable in Python means. So this is the syntax for variable, Nana. So basically, first we have to write the variable and then operator. That means generally we will write the equal operator and the default value. So here x equal to 1 means you may easily understand. So here 1 is the value and x is the variable. So now from the in this program, I mean to say like from that point onwards, wherever you require to use the 1, so instead of 1, you can use the directly x in your program. So x is indicating 1 from that point onwards. So x is a variable because if you store x equal to 1, it will be 1. If you store x equal to 2, it will be 2, like that. Okay. And also like that, you can define any variable as you are convenient, like I shown some examples like age, name, height, course, balance, something like that. And the data also I mentioned, like for example, if it is a number or float decimals, you need not to mention the double quotes or single quote. But if it is string like names or address or email, these sort of data we have to store either in the single quotes or in the double quotes. Python doesn't make any big difference when you are using single or double quotes, it will be acceptable. Okay. And also please remember, In Python, we externally not defining any data type. Even it is having internally, there is no doubt at all. So Python supporting data types, we cannot say data types are not there in the Python. It is there. But externally, as a developer or as a programmer, we should not require to define it. Example, if you go for C language or Java, if you want to define the number, we will write int x. Or if you want to define decimals float like x, if you want to define the content, you will use a string. Like that, externally we should define that variable what type of it is. But in Python, the beauty is we no need of declaring the any data type externally. By default, the value which you assigned, the system will understand. So the value whatever you are assigning or whatever you. So whatever the data we are storing in the respective variable, by the data, the system will understand what type of value it is. Example, if I'm storing x equal to 1, then the system will understand, okay, x is an integer. If I'm giving the same x equals 7.2, the system will understand it is a decimal. So like that, the value what we assigned, by that only it will understand, but not the name of the variable, because we are not defining, or there is no need of defining externally the type of the value what we are using in the Python. So is this 2 points clear? The first point is variable value can be changed at any moment, any time of the program. Second, variable can be declared by using variable name is equal to value. And the third thing, no need of defining the data types externally. System will, I mean to say system in the sense Python interpreter will interpret the data type by the value which you assigned. So but it won't require any data type externally from that programmer. So these 3 points is clear with respect to variable, all of you. అందుకే కింద కూర్చోనా కింద కూర్చో. Any doubt as of now? Shall I move?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now in the same way, as I mentioned, right, we can change the variable value. Like if you see here, initially I written website equal to kennisworld.com. I'm using the print means it will print the value what we have in the website. Similarly, after the line, again I'm changing to website equal code2lead.com. That means, see, in initially if I'm printing website, the value will be printed as a kennisworld.com. But at the same thing, when I'm printing over here, it will change to code2lead.com because I'm replacing the value with the code2lead.com. So this will prove that this will show that the value what we have in the variable can be changeable in the program. And similarly, we can assign the value to the variable like as I mentioned here. So website equal to Kennis, so equal operator, like the equal to operator will generally use it to assign the value to the variable in the Python. The another advantage in the assigning operator here in the Python is we can assign multiple values at a time also. Like if you see here, we can assign multiple values at a time. So if you observe here the line example, name, age, salary equals 30,000. So that shows that you are assigning three different values to three different variables. One second, Anna. So if you observe here, so three different values we are storing in three different variables at a time. So this provision also we have in the Python. So now the assigning of the values will follow the precedence. Like example, Satish will go to the first variable called name, 30 will go to the second variable called age, and 30,000 will go to the third variable called salary. So like that, you can assign the multiple values to the multiple variables at a time in the Python. That option also we have. And anyway, while execution also will show this all things, okay. So now the last example with assignment, given you can assign single value to the all the multiple variables also as similar to here. So P1 equal to P2 equal to P3 equal to 100. That means the same 100 assigning to the all the three variables called P1, P2, P3. So three individual values we can assign to three different variables. Similarly, three same value can also assign to the multiple variables at a time in the Python. This provision we have in the Python. And after that, generally or obviously we should understand output statement, okay. So output state, like the basic idea of the output statement is to print something on the console, or after execution of the program or after writing your logic on the program, we should print our output or expected result. So for that only we will use output statement. So in Python, the output statement will be print function. So there is an inbuilt function called print, so which will print the output on the console as expected. So it has some syntax, basic syntax. So I will show the basic syntax here. So please remember, the print will help you to print something on the console. So print will take generally text as a content. So generally, but even you can also pass the what I can say that variables also, like if the variable have the value, and that variable also can be printed. And also some other options will be there, like separator and end line. So that I will explain. End means how it will be useful. And also instead of console you can change to and some file to write something on the content. So these all operations we have in the print statement. So we'll see one by one while execution. So before going to the other input statement and as well as like other topics, we'll see the execution of the variables and this print statement. So once you clarified, then I will go to the next point, okay. So now I will even show you how to create a new project and how to create a sample program in the Python also I will create. So for that I already clearly mentioned for everyone, PyCharm is the required software for our Python programming. So once you install the PyCharm, so if anybody not able to install, you can ping me or you can connect offline in the office. I will help you to install the PyCharm and Python. So once you install both Python and PyCharm, we can able to start programming in the Python. So that is already explained in last class. But if somebody is really required that installation part, you can come on Monday offline. I will explain that. And today I am going to be showing how to create a sample project and a sample program, and where how can we execute this, as I mentioned, variable and the output statement. We'll see briefly now. Just few seconds, it may open. Yes, Inanna. So if you want to create a new project, we have an option like go to the file and click on new project. Okay. So once you click on the project, it will ask you the project name, what you want to give it to the respective project, and also you require to select the environment also. Okay. So now under the location, so here it's showing Python project. So instead of that, I am giving core Python 6 p.m. batch. Okay, so 6 p.m. I'm putting, so where I can all the create all the things. Okay, and also it will ask you the environment, so don't take it as a virtual environment. Instead of that, you can take the physical environment, that is previously configured interpreter. If you are not configured so far, once you come to this point, you will have a option like add interpreter. Click on this, it will show add local interpreter option. So once you click on that, it will ask you like, it will show you multiple options what we have in the PyCharm, like Pencil, Poetry, and System, and Quanda. In this, you select the system interpreter. It might show you the interpreter which is already available in your mission. Okay, just click on OK. Now it will show you the interpreter in the respective drop down what previously we showed. So if you observe here, see that. So there is a two interpreters in my machine. One version is 3.6.1 and another version is 3.11. So likewise, whatever the versions you install in your machine, it will show all the versions. But I think latest whatever you install, it may show you. Okay. So now after that, just click on create. Okay, and also there is a file it is showing by default main.py. No need of that, uncheck it and just click on create now. And once you click on the create, it will ask you to create the project whether in the new window or this window. So new window means the previous window will keeps like that and will create a new window, another window, it will open the project. And if you this window means the existing window close and it will open the new window. So I'm doing this window only. So that are the few steps for creating the project. So first file and then new project and give the project name and select the interpreter and done. That's all for the project work. Okay. And now whenever you create the project, the same name will open here. If you observe that, see, so it doesn't have anything because we didn't create anything. Okay. Now under this project, you can create subfolders like for your working mechanism. However you convenient, you can create, but here it won't show the name called folder, it will show the directory. So please choose the directory where I'm giving basics. Okay, the first folder I'm giving basics. So under the basics, like that, you can create number of folders as for your requirement in the project structure. Okay, so under this basics, I'm going to be creating a new Python file. So as I mentioned, we are working on the Python, so create the Python file. So here I'm just giving variables demo. Okay, so what we are just telling variables demo and enter. So now it will create a new Python file, the name which you given as a variables demo. So where you can type your program and you can run the program. So this is how we will create a basic level of programming structure. So first one, project creation. Second one, folder creation. Third one, program creation. So is these 3 points clear for everyone with respect to creations? Everyone is clear?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now, as I mentioned, so there is no need of variable declaration. Directly you can define the variable. Let's take example, id I'm writing equal to 101 I'm writing. So directly it will take id as a 101. Now if you want to print it, so now directly you can print the id. So the print statement will print the content directly by the variable and string also. Okay. So now I'm showing one by one, so you can better understand everything today. So run. And so I forgot to tell you one more thing. So we have to do the configuration. I think just a second. It's I think loading. Maybe it's giving option. No, just few seconds. It's once done, it will show the execution process. Yeah, I hope it is done. So now go to the run. Yeah, it's showing now. See that run the variable demo.py. Just click on that. The output will be printed on the console directly. See that 101, you got it. Okay. So similarly, as I mentioned just before, so you can also take the multiple variables. Single variable you can take. As similar to that, you can take name equal to, I'm taking Satish, and now you can even print the print name. Okay, so now it will print the both the values at a time, like 101 and as well as Satish. And now, as I mentioned, see, we are taking two lines, right? Instead of that, you can put it into the single line also, like put the comma and directly here id comma name. So this approach also supported by Python, as I mentioned already. So like this, multiple variables can be written in the single line and multiple values can be also stored. And instead of that, as I mentioned, like this also we can store p1 equal to p2 equal to 10, assume that. So now in both p1 and p2 you are having the value called 10 only. So now P2. Now if you run that, it will show both our values as a 10 only. Okay. So like that you can define the variable. And one more point I just want to highlight here. So for example, id equal to given 10. So now what is the like guarantee the system is assigning int only to the 10. So to confine that, you can also print the type of the value. So there is a inbuilt function called type where it will return the id how it is storing internally. Type of id I'm giving, right? So now you see it will give you an integer. See that it is showing an int. That means the id is treating as an int by the Python. Now if I'm taking the same thing, assume that, yeah, for example 2.3 I'm giving the same thing. Now the same id only will be converted as a float. So that means here the name doesn't make any sense. The value what we are assigning, by that only the system will understand what it is. And also one more beauty here is the same id no can be stored for any value. No need of declaring external. Like for example, we need not to mention it is a float or int externally. It will internally understand. And the same thing if you store as a string. Let's take example Satish. So now the same thing will treat as a str, that is string. See that. So likewise, the type will help you to understand actually the what is the type of the value, or what is the data type of the value which we are storing it there. Okay. So like that, the type can be useful for your comparisons or verify that what type it is, the data what we are storing. Okay. And I hope you understand the variable concept. And now we'll see some detailed about print statement. Okay. So now print can be taken directly string, Nana. So welcome to, let's take Python. Okay. So likewise, you can directly whatever the text you want to print, you can print on the print. Okay. So the content can be printed in double quotes, as I mentioned already. Even you can print in single quotes also. So both ways you can print in the content in the Python. Both will be giving same output only. Okay. So this is the first point. Second, as I just mentioned, variables. Like for example, I given name equal to Satish. So now if you want to print the name, see here the Satish can be printed two ways. One is you can directly type the Satish as a string, or you can use the variable which we just created because it's already having the Satish. So in both ways we can print it, the value called Satish. Okay. And also one more point, if you want to combine the variable along with the string, yes, we can do that also in the Python. So by using the concatenation operator called comma, like example, if I want to print something like name equal to comma, then I want to print actual name. So here if you clearly observe that the content whatever I typed within the double quotes will print as it is what we typed over there. What we typed name equal to, so it will come name equal to only. But after comma what I mentioned name, so the name whatever I typed, I didn't use the double quotes. That means it will verify with that name whether the variable is there or not. So if it is there, it will print the value which is there in the respective variable. If not, it will show error. Like for example, here your expectation is name equal to Satish, right? So now you see name equal to Satish. So likewise, if you concatenate a string with a value or a value with value, anything. For example, if you want to print a value comma value, assume that C, print a comma b, like this also print. You can print it like example a comma b equal to 10 comma 20. Assume that. So now ABs are printed side by side. Here if you see that, last one, see that. And if you want to give some content here, yes, you can give A and B, I want to give it. So now if you print, it will give the 10 and 20, see that. So likewise, you can combine or expand the statements or the variables as per your output statement requirement. So however you want to print, the similar way you can print by customizing your print statement. Okay. And also if you observe clearly, every time when I'm using print, it will printing the content in the new line. If you observe here, you see that. So every time when I'm using the print in the program, that will keep the content in the new line. So if you want to print something in the same line, then we are using a parameter called end. Okay. So for that demonstration I'm giving very simple example, you see. So let's take example here only. We see welcome to Python, we written 2 times, right? I want to keep in the same line only. Okay. So now we can use comma and end is equal to, you can use just space. Now you see the welcome to Python will be in the same line, see that, like this, see that. And if you want to give some space between the two things, give the space here. Now it will give the space between the Python to welcome, see that. So like that, if you want to combine the two lines into single line, we will use this AND operator. By default, this AND operator will be /n. /n means new line. So that's why you are getting every time the new line. So new line means /n. Okay, that will be default argument. That means if you are not given also, it will take it as a new line only. But if you want to make it in the same line, we should use space or tab. Okay, so that is how the AND operator will work on in the print statement. And also we have another option like, see, print, for example, I'm using 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay, now if you see, the three values will print side by side. By default, remember, when you're using the comma, it will give the space as a separator. That means space between the value. But other than space, if you want to take, yes, we have that option also, separator. Now separator equal to, you can give any value. Let's take example, I'm giving colon as a separator. Now you see, after each value will get the colon, see that colons are coming. And if you want to give some, for example, some star, yes, you will get stars in between the each value. So like that, yes, see that. So like that, if you want to make separator customizable, by default it is space. If you want to give your own separator, yes, we have that option also, you can utilize it. So these are the different options what we have in print statement. So based on your requirement or based on your what you need, you can customize it and you can utilize it. So is there any doubt in the variable and print statement, all of you?
No, it's clear, sir.
Great. Yeah, great. So the next topic we have input statement, we'll cover that also. So the next point is how we will take the input. So the input can be taken in two ways in general in Python. One is generally static input. In the program itself, we can type your inputs like as we just shown on the program, like name equal to Satish, ID equal to 101, that like that. But that data we cannot modify after execution. That will be static. But if you want to take some input dynamically at the time of execution, so while we are running the program, if you are expecting to give some input or if you are expecting to give some values to the variable, so then in that case we can use input statement. So this input statement again inbuilt function only in the Python. So this input will help you to read something from the keyboard. Okay, but only limitation of the input statement is it only can read any type of data in the form of string only. It cannot differentiate the number to string or string to float like that. You need to typecast it or you need to convert it. So for that only we are using a process called typecasting. So here if you see, input followed by message is the syntax for that. So as I shown on the program, we can read any type of input from the keyboard, but only the difference, string can be directly consumable, but whereas other formats you need to typecast and then only we can use it. And also the input message, whatever I shown in the syntax, that is optional. If you want, you can use it, otherwise no need of that. So these are the different examples what I showed, like number reading and other forms. And yeah, So the next topic will be comments. So this is already explained in the first class. Comments are nothing but descriptions, or I can say that. So what we can say that readable comments. I can say that means the comments are the extra lines of description to the code what we have written. So it is not actually the part of code. It is just for enhance your understanding or enhance your readability of the program. So here we have two types: single and multi-line. Single line means we are using hash symbol. Multi-line means triple quotes we will use. So triple quotes will generally use it to multi-line comments. So this is all about comments concept. We'll see practical input statement, other stuff, so that you can understand. So after that we'll come back to the data types. Okay. Yeah. So here first one input statement I mentioned, right? So for example, as I mentioned, you can take name equal to Satish like that statically. So how many times now you print the name, it will come the Satish only. But if you want to read the same Satish from the keyboard after execution, so there you can use input as a statement. So input followed by you can use enter your name, and now you can print it, print name. Okay. And similarly, if you want to read some number n equal to input of, sorry, input of enter number, and now I'm taking print n. So likewise you can read any values from the keyboard. Okay. So now I'm running this. You see, check it out. See, enter your name. See, now it is not printing the name. It is asking the name and it's waiting for your input. So now once you given that, it will capture into the respective variable. See, it is printing the Satish. Now enter number. Let's take, I'm giving 20. So now you see 20 is printed. So likewise, if you want to read something from the keyboard dynamically or after execution of your program, so generally we are using a statement called input statement. So for example, if you want to describe it, so then we can use as. So it is used to read. Example I'm telling. So now whatever the first line I written, so this won't be executed. This is only part of your program. We can able to see, but we can't see in the output. So that is expected as a comment basically. Okay. So any doubt as of now? I hope you understand the input, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. And now the next topic will be data types. So as I mentioned already, even though we are not using or writing the data types externally, but Python will treat every value as a particular type. So that type only we call data type, and this is generally we have different types in Python. So first one, numbers. So there is a type of numbers as I mentioned already. So we have three types of number categories. One is int, float, complex number, and the next one strings, str, as just before I told you, and the next one boolean, bool. So true false basically we can say that, so either true or false. And last one, collections. So collections means multiple values, so where you. So like collections are nothing but it's a storing of multiple values as like arrays. So we have different types of collections. Later on we'll discuss detailedly about Python. But remember, collection is a set of values, I can say that. Okay. So but overall these are the four types of data types which we are available in the Python. So numbers, strings, boolean, and collections. Okay. And under numbers again we have three categories. One is int, float, and complex numbers. So data type always indicating, remember, always indicating what type of data we are going to be storing or we are going to be using. Okay. And the last, as I mentioned, type conversion or type casting. So just before I told you, if you want to convert from one data type to another data type, like example int to float or float to int, similarly string to integer or integer to string. So like that, if you want to convert from one data type to another data type, that process we called type conversion or type casting. So again it is two types, implicit and explicit. So implicit means if system only will do that in this process, like mostly higher level to lower level will generally convert by system. So that is what we call implicit. Whereas if developer externally done that, then we can obviously call it as a explicit. So explicit means externally we need to do that, we can't do automatically. So for that there is a respect to types we can use, like int, float, str we can use, so to typecast it. Okay. So likewise we have to work on that. So I will show you some examples also, so you can better understand about typecasting also now. So see here, if you take this one only, I will take a simple example. I'm taking n1 is equal to input of, okay, let's take enter value 1, okay. Similarly, I'm taking n2 is equal to input of enter v2, okay. And now what I'm trying to do, c is equal to, I'm writing n1 plus n2. Now I'm just trying to print that value called c. So print c now, okay. So now what happened, if you observe here the program, it will ask you the two values from the keyboard as we mentioned already. 10 I'm entering and 20 I'm entering. Now what is expected result here, if you really observe that 10 plus 20 30, right? But if you observe here, it will give you 10 20. See that it won't give you 30, because as I mentioned already, the input by default will take the data into string format, it won't be number format. So string plus string will always concatenate it won't be add. So to make it addition, you need to typecast into integer, so int of we should write. So this is what we call explicit typecasting. That means we should typecast into numbers. It won't done automatically by understanding the numerical values. So now if you run the same program, there is no change, but you can see the output called 30. See that. So this is what we call technically typecasting. So typecasting is the process of converting from one data type to another data type for your requirement. And also by this point you need to understand input statement will read even the numericals in the string format only internally. It won't print in the numerical format. So you externally do that for your mathematical calculations. So this is all about today topics. So if you have any doubts for today topics, please ask me. Otherwise, I will share the video. Please go through that and do some basic practice, and we'll meet on Monday. Any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, we can wind up the class.